Hello, welcome to Two Madness Podcast. Another week, a new episode, and I'm with one of my favorite people, Michael Champon. I call him Zibit. He was on our podcast. We discussed Paul Kagame, and today he's back again. We want to talk about self-sabotage of a nation, our energy sector in the 21st century. And I brought Michael back because he has a lot of knowledge when it comes to stuff like this. Michael, what's up?
Charlie, I do.
What's up? People really enjoyed our Pokigami episode. I had a lot of feedback. People were like, yo, the guest knows a lot about African history. And Michael is a structural engineer. Yeah, for information. He knows a lot. So Michael, what's up?
Charlie, I do.
You are coming to the... Yeah, it's good. And I love to have you back. We are running up the whole year's podcast, and I felt these days the weather is changing a lot of heat in the system and all that, and I felt, okay, all this energy coming, all this heat coming, can't we use all this heat for something else?
Sure.
So we have to discuss about this particular topic, the self-sabotage of a nation, our energy sector in the 21st century. So Michael, what is renewable energy?
Renewable energy. Renewable energy source or renewable energy is an energy source that when you use it will not be depleted. It can be reused again. So for instance, we know we have wind.
Yeah.
Wind, for instance, it doesn't get depleted.
Yeah, true.
So when you use, you can always reuse again. We have solar.
True.
And then I think we have hydro.
Hydro, yeah, true.
Water. So these are sources. Even though when it comes to the issue of water in particular, we cannot say that it will not be depleted. We know what we are doing to water and then some of the impacts. But basically, when we talk about renewable resources, this is what we mean. Sure.
So, question two. It's estimated that the forest depletion rate in Ghana per annum is 2%, and 80% of Ghanaian household uses wood fuel for basic cooking. How well have our state institutions addressed this issue in a pragmatic way?
Okay, the way we are destroying our forests is alarming.
Yeah.
And I hope we can take the necessary measures to stop it. On government's front, we've seen a number of policies. For instance, these days, these gas canisters that they give out to people, they try to subsidize the prices of it so that people can transition from using the wood and then to start using LPG, the liquefied petroleum gas. The little issue there is that maybe people in Accra perhaps can purchase the LPG gas, but then when it comes to people who are outside Accra and then the hinterlands, where they don't always see money, then it becomes an issue because even when you give them the gas cylinder and then they don't have money to fill it, then definitely they'll go back to
the wood.
The wood. So government is making strides in that area when it comes to people using transitioning from the wood to the use of the LPG.
True. Hydropower has been the major energy resource being utilized for electricity generation over the last decades. As the demand for electricity increases and the supply rate remains the same, why has the nation been reluctant to vigorously explore other alternatives?
To say we've been reluctant, I think maybe when you talk to people in government, they might not necessarily agree with you. Okay, because we used to rely heavily on hydro. But then currently, when you look at our energy mix, I was looking at some percentages. Currently, we are our energy mix is such that we get about 38% of our energy from hydro. We get 61% from thermal, and then about less than 1% from solar. So it means that if you talk about what we've done, to replenish what we are losing from hydro, I think we've done a lot. Just that talking about this particular topic where we want to include climate change and all that, you would say going with thermal it's not necessarily the place that we want to go.
Sure.
But if it's about alternatives, we are doing a lot. They are putting up a lot of thermal plants.
Yeah, true.
To beef up our energy mix. And currently, it seems to be the one in the lead with 61%.
But with the solar, why is the solar having the least percentage?
The solar, I think what is happening is that if you need to install so many solar panels to be able to achieve a certain substantial amount of the megawatts of electricity that you are looking for. And one of the first things that you would have to face is land. Where to get the land to be able to install this solar panels. And even when you get it, you need vast areas of lands. And what that means is that maybe even lands that could be available for agriculture and so on will now have to be turned over for solar. And then also there is a little challenge with the solar. If you read certain articles, they will tell you that if you are doing it on a smaller scale, then you don't see it to be a big issue so much. But if you are doing it on a larger scale, you need to have like giant batteries that can store what you've been able to obtain from the sun. The energy that you've captured, you need some place to store it to be able to give it out. And those giant batteries is not really an easy thing to
manufacture.
Not necessarily a manufacture, as in getting ones with huge capacities to be able to store the type of energy
you want.
In terms of quantity that you are looking for. That seems to be the challenge.
So with the land issue concerning the solar energy, I was thinking that can't we be more innovative in we can construct buildings and put these panels on top of the roof?
Yeah, it's true. Actually, for me, it's something that I really advocate. You see, if we can subsidize the prices of solar panels so that people, as soon as you put up your house, you install a solar panel on top of your house, you see that it's like at maybe household level, at your individual level, you've been able to add something to the grid.
Yeah,
or
true. Let's
say you've reduced your dependency on the grid. So if everybody is doing that, then you see that in aggregate terms, it will really help.
It will increase the percentage too.
Exactly.
True. The government has outlined some measures and target to increase renewable energy generation by up to 10% by the year 2020. How realistic is this projection?
Yeah, when I saw this thing, I don't want to sound pessimistic, but if currently we are operating in the region of around 1%, and we want to move to 20% within just a year, and 2019 is practically over.
Yeah.
So if you want to jump from 1 to 10%, I think it's a bit ambitious.
Unrealistic.
Yes, and we can say unrealistic. It's a bit ambitious, but that shouldn't stop us from doing what we think we need to do. Who knows? Maybe in a year or two from now,
it can happen.
Yeah, sure.
Should we, as a nation, be alarmed by facts concerning climate change?
Yeah, I think we should be alarmed. We should be alarmed in a sense that nobody is disputing that there is climate change. Okay, but the issue seems to be that now it has been politicized, and then two, the facts are not well so grounded. Even within the scientific community, they are always disagreeing.
True.
You see, we are making a lot of predictions using climate change models. Climate change models that are not so reliable. So if you look at certain articles, they will tell you, okay, even when you take 20 climate change models, you see that each of them is going by certain assumptions, certain inputs, and so on. So what is happening is that the facts are always skewed depending on how you want the results to be, and that seems to have caused a lot of debates when it comes to which facts you can rely on in formulating policy. But then we know for a fact, this is not to say we should dismiss the things that we know about climate change, as in rising sea levels, increasing temperature, and so on. These things are there, just that the way we are measuring them
is the issue.
Yes, is the issue. So it's kind of like there are facts, but don't put too much premium on them.
But there's another school of thought that says that this climate change thing is not true. People are making up facts just to divert our attention to something.
Yes.
So they're not really putting effort in fighting what we think is climate change.
Yes. The climate skeptics, they are there. Personally, my position on this thing is that I know there is climate change, okay, but I'm not an alarmist, or I don't believe in the alarmist view that we had Alexander Ocasio-Cortez in the U.S., one young senator, saying that the world will end in 10 years. Everyone knows the world is not going to end in 10 years. So that if you say something like that, and then next 10 years...
It doesn't happen. Nobody is going to take you serious. True.
Nobody is going to take all those advocates of climate change
serious. True.
So what we should be doing is that tell people that, look, something is happening. We need to do something about it. But this alarmist attitude, this hysteria going on that, hey, the whole world is coming to an end.
Yes, on PM.
I don't think it's going to help.
Yeah, fear and panic. True.
And it doesn't do the facts about climate change any justice.
True. The next question. Can the West lecture us on climate change when they emit most carbon monoxide?
The carbon monoxide and then the carbon dioxide and all those CO2 emissions. I don't think they can lecture us. The reason why they can't lecture us is that even as we speak, that people are taking a lot of efforts to reduce global emissions on those things. When you take the top two polluters, US and then China, the US and then China, you will see that they are telling African countries and so on that, look, you need to implement climate change policies and all that. Yet, you guys are not cutting down your emissions and you are polluting the earth more. Meanwhile, we are bearing the brunt of it. I think somewhere, it was this year or last year, there was some flooding. There was some flooding somewhere in Zimbabwe, in Malawi, those areas.
Yeah, true.
Some
Malawi,
serious flooding.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, true.
You see, so we are bearing the brunt of some of these things. Meanwhile, we are not the ones polluting so much. You see, so on what grounds do they have to lecture us?
True.
And also these things born like economics, because currently a lot of countries are discovering fossil fuels and so on. And we have people telling us that fossil fuels is one of the biggest contributor to climate change.
Yeah.
So that if you come and then you tell us that, okay, we need to cut emissions and all this, indirectly too, you're also saying that maybe we shouldn't develop our fields.
Yeah, true.
And what is happening is that before some of these countries who are now lecturing us became rich countries, that was what they used.
They were doing.
Yes. When you take Canada, for instance, they rely heavily on fossil fuels. You see, it's one of the main things that backs their economy. And maybe some countries can have different mix when it comes to what they can do for the economy. But for certain countries, it's just oil that they have. So that if you come and lecture them that, hey, you need to cut down emissions and so on.
True.
Indirectly, you are hitting at the core of their economy.
True.
Yeah. So they don't have any
right to lecture us.
Yes.
True. In recent times, we have been experiencing an intense heat from the sun, and little has been done to make good use of it. Germany is the world leading user of solar energy, but they have little sunlight as compared to ours.
Yeah.
What seems to be the loophole here?
I think the loophole here is money.
To me, I feel it's political. I feel it's
why do you think it's
political? Because Ghana has money. If you want to do anything in Ghana, it's achievable. You have seen certain things being done here which didn't even make sense, and people still had money to pump into that.
You know, I'm not holding brief for government, but then the thing is that you need to measure the cost of those renewable technologies that they are implementing in Germany. You need to do some cost-benefit analysis. What is the cost of setting up those renewable sets, as in doing solar or maybe doing wind and so on and so forth? Okay, and then let's say vis-a-vis the amount of megawatts of electricity that you'll be getting from it.
Generate from
and even Germany that we are holding so high, they themselves they realize that there are issues that even though renewable energy is the way to go, they've not been able to wean themselves completely from things like maybe coal.
Okay.
Coal. They are firing a lot of coal power plants to augment what the renewable resource is giving them. You see? So even though they are doing so well, we should be a little wary in just saying that we are going to follow what they are doing. And like I mentioned, the money too is an issue. You need to look at how much are you spending, how many megawatts of electricity you are getting. If you don't think that is prudent, you think thermal is the way to go. So I believe those in our system have looked at those things already, and they seem to think maybe thermal is the best for us.
The backbone of every developed country is industrialization.
Yeah.
What are some of the measures and steps we should put in place as we focus on making Ghana a powerhouse in industrialization?
Okay, some of the steps that we can take is that we do not have to go the way of China. Okay, China is doing so well, they've industrialized, everybody is producing from there, but they are contributing a lot to greenhouse emissions. So what we can do is to formulate policies, make sure that where we have we have our free zones and those things where we are sort of like tax havens for companies that want to work within our economy. So that if you work within those zones, I don't know whether you don't pay tax completely or you are given some tax subsidy. So if you are working, if we want to industrialize, then we need to encourage more of those efforts. Create enclaves for people to come
inside and work,
set up factories and all those things, so that we process most of our goods here. We do not send them outside. But whilst doing that, we make sure that we have a policy or a plan to ensure that they do not pollute the environment. We don't have factories and so on leaking all kinds of poisonous chemicals into our water bodies. We need to make sure that we check those things.
Checks and balances.
So if we put those things in place, I think it will really help us.
How can we as a nation support local ventures who are into renewable energy?
What we can do to support them is the incentives I was talking about. You can give them some tax breaks for those who are importing solar panels and so on into the country. I think that we can help them out in that regard. Because when you reduce the taxes on what they are importing, then they can also look at their margins and how much they want to sell the panels to people. So if people can readily afford it and everybody is putting it on their house, then you don't have to rely so much on the national grid. You see,
then even if we have local firms who are into manufacturing of solar panels, we can
so
help
if
them.
we are producing it locally to them, maybe the cost will come down a bit.
Like the campaign on the local rice these days, we can also do same for.
Yes, we can do same for
renewable energy, solar panels.
Yes.
True.
And then I learned there are some companies that want to come and install some wind turbines and so on.
In Ghana?
Yes.
Cool.
I learned some people wanted to do some. I think somewhere after Mingo.
Okay.
Yes. I don't know how true it is. But then I'm sure definitely there will be somewhere in Ghana that we can install wind turbines.
Cool.
So those who want to do it, if we can help them out by giving them some incentives, encouraging them, giving them tax breaks.
I've been thinking that in the northern region we have so much heat coming from the sun. Why don't we focus on them as in the whole region? Be creating something for them only, so that the energy sustainability there will be okay for them, so they wouldn't tap into our national grid.
Into the national
Yeah.
That is what I was saying, that the solar. We are getting a lot of sunlight and all this thing. You can do the solar, all right, but it's about the amount of area that the panels are going to occupy in terms of land, and then about how much where you are going to store those giant batteries that are going to store the electricity when you have captured it, and so on. So those are sort of, and there are challenges with the battery technology, getting what you really want, and then also the cost component.
So looking at all these things, it feels like there's no use in going to this solar panels, this huge one.
Maybe I'm not an energy expert, so there is only so much I can say when it comes to that. But for me, I think that if we are doing it at an individual level, then it will really help. Okay, so we'll make it like, if you are putting up a house, then it should be something, it should be made a requirement, something that you would have to do.
True.
So we'll be able to cover large areas because all households having panels without necessarily going to look for some fresh area to go in. Because I'm always thinking about the north, they produce a lot of food. So if you are going to take agri lands to do the solar
panels, that's also another challenge. But what you said is brilliant. Every household having a solar panel to reduce
it will really help. Yes, you reduce the pressure on the grid because already right now we are increasing how much like power we are consuming as household. We are buying smartphones, we are using air conditioning.
True.
It means that we'll just keep getting hungrier when it comes to how much energy that we use. So if you are not taking the necessary steps to like solve that problem, it is really going to be a challenge.
True. Michael, your closing remarks.
Well, I will say that I think that government is really doing well when it comes to our energy sector in terms of the provision of the megawatts of electricity that we need and so on and so forth. Maybe definitely we can do more, but then in doing so too, we should also look at Ghana in terms of our climate and so how we manage our energy production with the climate issues and so on. If we think that solar is really going to help, barring all the things that I've said, if we think solar is really going to help, we should try and pursue it, maybe at the household level, like I was saying, and then let's see what the future brings us.
I want to say a big thank you to you for joining us this year on the Two Madnings podcast. Your place is very far from this place, but you still come to record it out, and God bless you so much. And I've learned a lot from you too.
Sure.
And I'm happy that our listeners to love your submissions every time too. God bless you so much. Next year 2020, I hope to have you on this set more often too.
Sure. I hope that next year we'll grow our listenership
a lot,
and then we can get more people.
I'm even thinking of infusing video at a point, so that we can have a video discussion.
Yes, I think
put it on YouTube.
I think it will help.
It will help. So we have the audio and the video version. So I'm thinking of that too. So I'm so happy that you have been part of this success. God bless you so much. This is Two Madnings podcast. A new week, a new episode. Bye.
Sometimes I wear my hair down to my back, or I cut a bob and do it into single plaits. And if it's the summertime, maybe do a weave. Always change my style depending where my head is at. Sometimes I wear my V-neck real low. If I'm feeling sexy, then expect some